Well, hello, Covenant Keepers. This is Brent, and I'm here with my beautiful wife, Lucy.
Hello, everyone.
We're happy to have you here with us today. Boy, lots changed since the last time we did our podcast. Now, everything in our world is talking about the coronavirus.
Things look a little different today.
It does. I mean, you can't get on social media. You can't watch television, listen to the radio. I mean, heck, even look here on the podcast. We're talking about the coronavirus. And guys, we know that it's everywhere, and there's some people that can't get away from it, and there's some people that can't run away from it quick enough because they said, we're done hearing about it. Let's just do what we got to do and get past it. Now, we're not going to wrap you up with another conversation about the fear of corona. There's thousands of different people out there that are talking about it, talking about the fear and being overwhelmed by it, but we want to give you a different perspective about the coronavirus and kind of what's happening and going on, because this is a discussion that we've been having amongst ourselves ever since we first really heard about it. And it was about a week or so ago now. I don't even remember how long it's again. How long has it been, babe?
How long has one been?
Since we first heard about the coronavirus.
It's definitely been longer than a week.
Has it been?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not real good with time frame, but I'm telling you, when we first heard about it, actually, which point stands out the most to me is when someone actually called us after one of the...
Well, that was not the first time we heard about it. That's the first time somebody's called us in an uproar about it.
Well, that's what I want to talk about, because that's what sticks out to me at the most, is when someone actually called us at our home and they were in an uproar. They were like losing their mind, like the end of the world was coming and we need to get on the ship quickly because we're all going to drown, kind of thing. And it was like late at night, and when you and I were actually laying in bed, I think we were watching a movie or something. And this person was actually very frustrated because we didn't have the response that he was looking for when he gave us his information that was going to save our lives.
Yeah. Good intention, right? Because of course, it's always like, hey, I just gained this information and I want to share it with you. And, what are you going to do about it, kind of thing. But ever since all of this started weeks and weeks ago, we really haven't felt the need for panic, fear, distress. It's really been pretty peaceful. I mean, we, of course, as believers, we pray, we pray for God's covering, and we kind of engage God throughout the day and just kind of go on with our life. So that's kind of what we'd been doing. But then this week came along, and there's been some major shifts that have transpired.
Yeah.
But in an effort to not get into all of everything that people have been hearing, because you can literally just go down Facebook and hear video after video of somebody talking about, don't fear, everybody's in an uproar and panic. Don't fear, God's got us. Yes, absolutely, God's got us. But we are more, I guess, in a place of seeing what's going on as a season of opportunity.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is how to have a different perspective on the situation. Like, the coronavirus is here. The government and health officials, everybody's working on it nonstop, 24/7. What would be our parts as believers and Christians? Like, this is happening. Like, this didn't blow God's mind. It didn't pop up out of the back. God didn't go, wow, I didn't think about this one. He already knew that it was going to happen. He's allowing it to happen, right? We know there's a reason that he's allowing it to happen. We don't know the reason. We'll probably never know the reason, but there is something for us to take away from all of this. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about.
There's a stirring in everybody right now, whether it be negative or positive. So we're kind of leaning more into, okay, what is this opportunity that we have right now? Because if you think about it, when you think about your normal days, a lot of people out there are pretty busy.
Yes.
They're pretty busy. Like, you drop your kids off, or they ride the bus, or however they get to school.
Yes.
And then you're pretty much off on your day, however many things it is you do in your day. Most of the people we talk to are pretty busy. There's really no rest for them. A lot of people just go. And to tell you the truth, I don't think people like to talk about resting because it almost makes them feel guilty, like they should be doing something.
Mm-hmm.
So the level of activity is always on high for a lot of people. So for me, seeing this as a season of opportunity, it's like, okay, why is God allowing this to happen in our lives right now? Why are our kids home with us for an extended period of time? There's a lot of whys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like what we are trying to encourage people to seek is, okay, what's the why in your home? What's the normal level of activity in your home?
Mm-hmm.
And is there something God's trying to draw your attention to?
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, when you say rest, I mean, this is just not, let's not go to work for a little bit.
Right.
This is, they're telling people, hey, you need to stay in if you're not feeling well, stay inside your home. Kids are out of school. A lot of the parks and recreational areas I know around us here in Florida have been shut down.
Which is
parks.
The worst time because it's spring break and everybody was planning on doing so many things.
Yeah, so spring break, the kids are out of school. The parks are closed. Even at the grocery stores, they're saying, hey, just get what you need and, get back home. So the focus is to keep, people indoors right now. So it is requiring families to come together under the roof.
Well, they're suggesting, for people not to be out in crowds larger than 10.
Well, now it's 10, yes.
Now it's got to be, stay under 10.
Yes.
But they're definitely recommending that just to avoid the spread, which of course, it's wisdom.
Right.
Like God says, we are to submit to authority.
Right.
And these are the people that are in authority.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have to be wise, but at the same time, start looking at why there's been a shift. A lot of people don't sit back and think about the spiritual element behind this, but there is a spiritual element because, like you said, God wasn't blindsided by this. He knew this was coming and he has allowed it to fall upon us.
Yes, he has allowed it to be here. Now, we shared a post on our one of the Facebook pages that we have last week, and this is what sparked it up for me. And I actually shared this last Friday, and I'm just going to read it because it really struck home with me. And it says that most kids are home from school and many events have been canceled. What could seem like a time to panic might just be a gift from God to help us get some unexpected time to rest and reconnect with the family.
Yeah.
And that really hit me. And that's what began to change my perspective on kind of what was happening and what's going on, to look outside of the event and really see what was happening in front of me with my family, with my marriage, with my kids, and just really overall my life.
Well, to be completely honest, it hasn't really stirred up that much of a different thing in our home because I think God has had us on a path of recognizing what's priority in your life.
Mm-hmm.
What are you dependent upon in your life? So we've kind of been on a path of recognizing, okay, relationships. God is the God of relationships. So we have to be really focused and zeroed in on relationships. So we kind of have been on a track of, spending time with the kids, spending time with each other. Like, it's not shaking us as a family to have something like this happen right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not crazy different for us to spend time with our kids.
Right.
Like, it's not hard. But to encourage other people to, okay, now you have all this extra time with your kids. Like, you can't go places that maybe you plan on going, vacations. And, for us here in Florida, Busch Gardens, Disney World, whatever.
SeaWorld.
And something that hit near and dear to my heart today, they're closing my Y, where we typically go to work out and, as a family.
So now we can't even go to the YMCA.
So now we can't go to the Y. But I mean, it's okay. We have workout equipment at home and we can come up with stuff that we can do together, whatever. But where's the opportunity there for you guys in your home? What is the opportunity that God's allowing all this to happen for you to see?
Yeah. And that's the thing. It is there. And I think the key word is kind of interesting because you said it and it stuck out to me. It's together. Mm-hmm. Right? Because if you think about it, when we watch the news and what's going on out there, it's talking about social isolation.
Social distancing.
I'm sorry.
Not social isolation.
Not yet.
Social distancing.
Social distancing. But now we're talking about togetherness within the home.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking about how that's going to tie together. So I want to take a break. I want to come back and talk about that more. Are you looking to strengthen your marriage? Are there reoccurring conflicts that continue to frustrate both you and your spouse? And could you benefit from faith-based solutions for today's relationship issues? At Tampa Family Resources, that's exactly what we offer. Check out our website today, tampafamilyresources.com. Hey guys, it's Brent and Lucy from Covenant Keepers. And if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. It will cost you no money out of pocket. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. The cool thing about it is that Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard from Spotify, Apple Podcast, and so many more. It's so easy, and everything you need to make a podcast you can find in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, that's ANCHOR.FM, to get started today. Hey guys, thanks for staying with us. And before we took the break, talking about social distancing and how we're talking about bringing things together under your roof, your relationship with your spouse, the relationship with your family, and how God is the God of relationship.
Well, it makes me think it really, I feel God is really bringing relationships under a microscope right now for people, because where once upon a time, right before all this started happening, where your focus may have been at, I really got to get to work. I really got to get to this meeting. I really got to make this deal. I really got to make this sale.
Yeah.
Where that maybe has been your main focus for a while, it's almost like God just said, okay, I'm hitting the pause button for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
What's really important right now? And really, people are looking at each other now. I'm sure a lot of them from some of the posts that we see are trying to figure out what to do. Because this is kind of like in your face, like, oh my gosh, like we're all together now under the roof.
Well, I've heard it from different people. And I'm going to put it this way. Wow. Now I'm going to have my kids for 2 weeks. I don't know how I'm going to handle this. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I think that's crazy. I really think that's crazy. I've seen so much stuff being posted about, oh my gosh, how am I going to handle being home with my kids? Because right now it's only 2 weeks. We don't even know if it's going to be extended longer. Okay?
True.
Only God knows how long he will allow this to go on for.
Right.
But guys, if you have kids, it is not a newsflash. You are a parent.
Well, yes. Yeah, I mean,
you're supposed to parent them.
But that's just talking about kind of like where we've gotten as a society. And the same thing. I mean, you hear even couples saying, wow, I don't know what I'm going to do with this spouse for this long. Like, we haven't been in the room for this amount of period of time together. Like, I don't know what to talk about.
I think that is like the most amazing opportunity, because maybe if in your home you're not used to seeing your spouse for long periods of time, and all of a sudden like travel has halted, right? If you have like a traveling spouse, all of a sudden they might be home with you.
Yep.
Right? And now there may be a new focus.
Well, as you're talking, it made me think about like, what if, and this is all hypothetical because we know God's thoughts are not our thoughts and his ways are not our ways. But what if this is one of the ways that this is allowed to take away some of the distractions that are blocking our relationships?
That is exactly what I believe it's happening right now, where God's allowing you to be positioned in the perfect spot to see your spouse. You know, if you've been married, maybe you've married a while, 15, 20 years, whatever. And some people just kind of become complacent, right? And they're just kind of coming and going, doing the daily thing, and kind of really forget about why you guys came together. Like, what if God is now hit the pause button? Now you're together again. What are you going to do with the togetherness that you have.
I just had a picture as you were talking of, I don't know, God always shows me this picture of Adam and Eve in the garden, where literally it's Adam and Eve in the garden. Like, what were they talking about? I know Adam had his job of naming all the animals, right? And here's his wife Eve, and he knows, hey, I'm not supposed to do this. And he's got his relationship with God. Like, that was a good time. Like, that was in paradise, right? That's how God had designed it to be before the fall. That worked. Now we're here now, right? It looks a little different outside, but it's still the husband and the wife together. And if you're a believer, you've got God there with you also, making this work. Like, maybe this is a brief, was it like a flashback or a brief look back, like what it could be like if we had a connection like we had back in the beginning, back when Adam and Eve were in the garden.
Well, you talk about Adam and Eve, but for many people, to keep it practical, like your beginning, right? Where, you as a wife and you as a husband, where you guys came to be a couple. Like, how did that all start? Just stirring all that emotion back again. Like, you have opportunity now. Some people may not be at a good place, right? Some people may look forward to, which always blows my mind. Some people may look forward to being apart all those hours throughout the day because they don't know how to handle each other anymore for long periods of time.
Well, yeah, we've heard it where people says, I can't wait till my spouse goes, away for a little bit because I need my time to get my mind right, and they're just too much right now. Like, I've heard that.
Well, people have told us, like, I don't know how you guys do it. How you guys work with each other and do everything together, like, how? And, you're still married. You're still getting along.
Well, I'll tell you how we do it. It's only by God's grace and having a relationship with him. And I know that sounds very, churchy and spiritual, but it really is the God's honest truth.
Well, for us and our relationship, it's all something that God planned way before we were even here for us to be together and be able to function together as we do. So we can't explain that. Only God could. Right?
Well, yeah.
But for other couples and families altogether, like, just to go back into the part about parents not knowing what to do with their kids because they are typically in school. Okay, what is the opportunity there? Reconnect with your kids. Get to know your kids, the season of life they're in. Get to know who their best friends are. And cook together. Like, show your kids how to cook something.
Well, see, that's the opportunity that we were wanting to get through as we started talking today. Was those are the opportunities, because like we've always said, like if you want to have a relationship with someone, you got to spend time with them, and spending time. I don't mean just being present, like just being there, like physically there. You need to be emotionally there. From a Christian perspective, you got to be spiritually there. You got to be open to receive that other person. And that's what happens when you spend time together and you're engaging each other in day-to-day things.
And I'm going to tell you, I know for kids, this is a great opportunity because with kids, as we know, kids, they are typically seeking the attention of their parents in one way or another.
Until they become a teenager.
And then they start running away from you.
Start pushing it. But even secretly, they still want to have that connection.
Yes, secretly, they still want to have a connection with you, but they want you to look for them.
They want you to come into their world.
Yes, they want you to seek them out so they can feel important.
Yes.
And I mean, that's just the age, which is fine. Like, come into the world, find out what's happening in their world, what's important to them. And sometimes, sometimes it might not be something that's so exciting for you, but that's okay because it's not about you.
I just had that picture in my mind, and I don't know why. We shared with you guys. We have an 8-year-old son. And as you're talking about the difference in the kids and the ages, just thinking about our 8-year-old son as he typically does. He's banging on the bedroom door in the morning, and then the door comes open. He's jumping on the bed and trying to wrestle and do all this stuff. Like, he's seeking out. He's coming after us. But then when they become teenagers, it's almost like we go running after them.
Yes. To
try to connect with them. I don't know why that picture just came to me.
Well, I think it's funny because then if you go a few years later, like as they get even older, now they start seeking us out again.
They start showing back up, yes.
Which is kind of crazy because now, during the teenage years, they start kind of doing their own thing, like seeking out who they are, who they're going to become, right? So we start leaning back into them and trying to help guide them and mentor them through these years. And then they grow up and leave the house. Well, some of them want to live there forever. And some just leave and come back. But then they start seeking you out. They start leaning back into the parents. So it's interesting how God has wired us that way.
Yeah.
But you guys, just getting back to the point of our podcast today, is the opportunities are there. The opportunities, like for us with our 8-year-old, there's an opportunity there. What can we do? What kind of games can we play? Can we go outside and do something outside? Like there's different things you can do. Now, it doesn't mean you have to sit there and entertain your kids 24 hours a day. Like that's not healthy either. You shouldn't be doing that.
Right. They need to have time for imagination and do their
own thing as well. But how often? Think about it, guys. I don't think we've ever had this kind of an opportunity where God has literally said, stop. Like if you can picture that, like God said, okay, now everybody is going to stop. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how poor you are. Everybody is going to stop.
What if, think about this. You know me, I'm always thinking over top. The scripture, be still and know that I am God. What if it's this moment that we're in right now, this season that we're in right now with this coronavirus is happening, that this is God speaking to his children, his people. Be still and know that I am God.
Well, I see it. I love that. I love that verse. That's one of my favorites because yes, sometimes we do need to almost be pulled back by something outside of you to know that God is still in control, that he is still running the show from upstairs. Okay, like that's a lot of people don't think that way, but also how is he using us as believers for those unbelievers that are kind of out there, not knowing which direction to look, feeling shaken up, stirred up? Like what a great testimony after we get past this, because guys, we will get past this. This is a season. What a great testimony for many. If us as believers shine brighter right now during this time to show people, hey, it's okay. Like we are all here to care for each other. We are all here to serve each other. We need to remember the roots, the basics here. Like God says, love God and love others. This is such a great opportunity and such a great time to show that in your marriage, in your relationship with your kids, in your relationship with your extended family members. Like this is a time of coming together. Like I understand social distancing, right? We're not calling people to
social isolation.
Yeah, not social isolation, but with the social distancing, we're not saying, get together in groups, because clearly that's not what the authorities are telling us to do. But as a family,
right?
What kind of light is God calling you to be right now in your family?
Well, yes, and I'm going to take it a little further because you mentioned it, but I want to narrow in on it just a little bit. Yes, being the reflection of Christ to a dark world right now, right? We have to do that. God's calling us to do that, right? We're supposed to be the city on the hill, the light and the lampstand to show the world the light, to show them Jesus. There is hope. This is not the end. Like God will be with us and walk through us in this time. But as parents, the opportunity that we have to model that for our children, like they're looking toward us right now to see how we're acting, how we're responding, right? To see how it looks when the world is telling them one thing and they see the mom and dad, how they're acting and responding. Are we praying with them? Or are we praying for protection, praying for covering, praying for I can't even say it, provision? Or are we losing our minds going out and buying 60 packages of toilet paper that, like, okay, they already know we don't do this normally.
Right.
This is something out of the ordinary that mom and dad are doing right now. Now look at our pantry. It's stockpiled with mounds and mounds and mounds of everything. What's that teaching your kids? And guys, we're not saying don't be prepared. That's not what we're saying. But what's the spirit that you're carrying with this? Is it a spirit of faith or is it a spirit of fear? Like, because it's going to come off to your kids, and it's just not being in the moment. Like, they're being taught. Because guess what? Down the line, there's going to be another thing that's going to pop up in this world that's going to be scary. It's going to be unknown. They're not going to want to know how to respond. And they're going to come back to the time like now. How do my parents respond in these moments and times? What did they teach me?
These are great teachable moments for kids. And I mean, and teaching them, again, to be wise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's listen to what the authorities are saying.
Yes.
And align with God, right? Because we're never supposed to not be aligned with God in the way we respond.
Right.
But how do we respond to others right now during this time?
Like,
yeah, we're prepared. Yeah, we went and got groceries because, we need to eat. The kids need to eat, especially parents. I know you guys all know that when your kids are home for an extended period of time, you need to load up on some food because they're going to want to eat.
Yes.
We all know this. So, yes, we went out, we got prepared, but we didn't panic. We didn't get crazy. We're teaching them about being wise, even with their eating habits. Just to understand, hey, we're in a season right now that's a little different, looks a little different. So we learn to be wise with our eating habits, with our spending habits. Like, there's different things you can teach your kids right now during this time and still show them Christ.
Yes. And that's really what it's about, guys. Seizing each opportunity is a teachable moment for your children, for each other, for your spouse. Like, just opening up to each other and having these conversations together like we're having here today, myself and my wife. We have these conversations and ask each other, like, what do we want our kids to learn out of this moment in time? What are you getting from God out of this? What are you seeing? What are you hearing from God's Spirit? What are you getting out of his word? Because, again, like, God causes all things to work together for good for those who love him and called according to his purpose. And then all things, that's all these things that we've been talking and describing to you. God is concerned about all the things.
How awesome would it be if we all come out of this stronger in our marriages, stronger as individuals because of your time spent with God?
That'd be awesome.
Stronger as a family unit. Your kids understanding, okay, this is a season. This is not our life. And for them to understand, okay, we're here to care for each other. We're here to love each other. We're here to serve each other. We're not here to bash anybody. We're not here to hoard. We're not here to panic. We're still in peace. Like, we can still have peace even when everything looks out of the ordinary. We can still have peace. So how awesome would it be if we all emerge from this so much stronger as a body of Christ and attracting some of the unbelievers into the awesome kingdom of God? Like, how awesome. It makes me excited to think, like, what a great opportunity we have, guys. Let's not let it pass us and just go into hiding. That's not what it's about.
I love that he said that. Like, don't go into hiding. That made me think a lot about that, because that's what fear will cause us to do, doesn't it? I mean, before, in the middle of the podcast, I jokingly said social isolation, but that's exactly what the enemy wants to do to us. He wants to isolate us.
That's what fear does to you, is make you think like you need to isolate yourself.
He uses that spirit of fear to isolate us, to keep us where we're not having that. So, guys, have wisdom in what you do and the choices you make. It's okay to have concerns. You should have concerns. You don't willy-nilly just go outside and do whatever without any concerns and have a rebellious spirit against everything, and I'm just going to do and be me.
Right.
That's not the answer.
No.
Because that's not loving each other. That's not even loving yourself properly.
No.
And that's what God calls you to do, right? Love God, love others.
No, and be a light. Like, a light's not meant to be put under a basket. The Bible talks about that. A light is meant to shine. And that means shine throughout every occasion and every event and every moment. So let's shine bright.
So, guys, we hope you enjoyed the podcast today. We hope it's been helpful. If you did like it, please go check us out at covenantkeeper4life.com. That's covenantkeeper, the number 4life.com. And get out there, guys. Stand for marriage. Stand for God. You're a covenant keeper.